thank you for coming. It's so nice to have you here. We're all very happy. And I would like to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
One is a practical question. There are so many movies now in our ages, and you don't know which of them will be good or which will be not so good. How can I understand if I read an announcement of the movie? Is it worth to go to cinema?
Well, I mean, sometimes you know by the genre. So most movies that are horror movies are low budget and oftentimes empty. There's no real story, inner story. So all they do is they focus on the plot, the events that happen. But they reveal nothing about the inner life of the character. And why we love stories is not the plot. It's about the inner life. It's about the secrets of the character and the fears and the hopes and dreams. So many times you have young filmmakers who are only focusing on the plot, and we don't care about anybody. You know, it's just empty. So my advice to filmmakers is you have to have a life. You have to write about something, and you have to not just focus on your character and cool moments. You have to reveal moments where the character doesn't want to reveal something, or they're hiding something. Their humanity is what makes you love a story.
But do we need to notice something when I'm reading about a new movie?
If the filmmaker can tell you something, if you like your past movies, that can be one indication, but there's no guarantee. The genre can tell you something. You know, around Academy Award time, that's when the best movies come out. But it doesn't mean they're all good. You know, some are good, some aren't. So there's no guaranteed way of knowing. You just have to risk it. But I would say that the genre tells you one thing. Is it a higher quality drama? Is it a higher quality comedy? Or is it low-brow action, zombies, all those things that are meant for teenagers? And unfortunately, there's very smart teenagers, but they're not getting good movies. You're getting pop culture junk. And some of those movies you say are guilty pleasures. They're just fun. But there's no insight, there's no life, there's nothing in them except action, sound, and fury. And it signifies nothing.
And also sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I know for sure that everything will be good in the end with all heroes or with main heroes for sure. But directors and you, writers make me sometimes doubt that if everything will be good. But you know that everything will be, but why are you doing like that?
Why am I doing it? You're blaming me?
Yes.
You can't blame me.
In Wally, for example, we know that he will restart and recognize evil, but you doubt and you but for what? And it's like that in all movies.
You're saying you don't like the positive, you don't like the ending?
I love.
Okay. But I'm confused by your question then. What's the problem?
Why in the middle of the movie we're thinking that something maybe will be wrong?
Well, dramatic, you have to basically balance the idea that it's either going to work out well or it's going to be bad. And so we're working with emotion. And in order for the ending to be so satisfying, we have to take the viewer down into the depths of fear, and we worry about the character. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to care. So it's about moving the audience to fear and pity and concern. And then if it's there's great movies that have very negative endings, that destruction and death, but is it truthful? There's movies about war where people die, and people don't want happy endings, they want truthful endings. So it's about moving the audience, and that's part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And may I ask also, what kind of scripts are better if you can compare written by books, by existing books, or it's
you never know, because some books are meant to be literature, and they don't become good movies because they have to take out too much. Also, there's many books you love the writing, the style of the writing, or the inner thinking of a character, which is very hard to dramatize in film. So some books are meant to be books. Some books, oftentimes that are not great books, but they have the elements, they can actually become really good movies. So you never can say that a great piece of literature will become a great movie. Oftentimes it won't. Some things are just meant to be books.
Is it hard to make a script from a book? For example,
it depends on the book.
If you can say about Game of Thrones, how do you find it? The story, if you're watching?
Well, I mean, Game of Thrones is not per se a complex. It's not, like great Russian literature, but it's entertaining, and you do care about the characters, so that particular book, as it turns out, they could translate that to a film. So again, there's no recipe, there's no rule, it's on a case-by-case basis.
Can a good actor spoil a good script or
Yes, an actor
can... Do you know the stories? Any examples?
First of all, it's my personal opinion. I thought Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables, I thought she was overacting. And when she was crying, I thought she was crying too much. And the reason I think that is that in life, when a person is crying, they try not to cry. And when they're trying not to cry, it evokes emotion in the audience. So the audience cries for the character because we recognize ourselves as someone trying to hold on and stay strong. In acting, many bad actors, they over-emote, they just gush. And it's not like real life. So audience members, human beings, have a very perverse instinct, which is that when you cry too much, it shuts me down emotionally because I think you're faking it. And it's a very intuitive process. I just feel there's something not right about it. Because you trying to cry is not like real life. So a big thing in directing, when working with actors, is you say, actors like to say, I don't know if I can cry during the scene. And I say, don't cry. Try not to cry. Find something that is so truthful to you, and that when you're saying these words, you absolutely believe them. And then try not to cry and see what happens. And oftentimes when I give them the direction, try not to cry, then it becomes really powerful because they're holding on. And the emotion is trying to pull them into it, and they're fighting back, and that's where it's truthful.
Thank you that you're so honest with me, and is she the only one who spoiled this movie, or maybe you know other great stars which were not good?
Well, I don't want to give a list of I don't want to name, because one day I might meet Anne Hathaway and she says, I saw this interview in Russia and you made fun of me, and so I don't want to do that.
And what can you say about Leonardo DiCaprio? He's incredibly unlucky with Oscar.
Well, my personal feeling is that he's a talented actor. I think with certain roles that he's not of the maturity to play the role. So, for example, when he played J. Edgar Hoover in Hoover, I thought he was too young to play Hoover. And so I'm not feeling it was truthful. I felt it was a talented actor pushing to perform a great character, but he didn't match the role. So you say he's unlucky. Maybe the case is that he's picking the wrong parts, and the parts are beyond him in terms of his level of maturity. And that's not a criticism per se of him as an actor. He's a great actor. I just always feel like it doesn't really match him. He's not old enough to play that character. So that's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's just the feeling I have watching him. But you know what? Leonardo DiCaprio is going to win the Academy Award. He's going to find the right story. It's going to match him perfectly. You know, he's going to be right for that, and that will happen. If not next year, in 5, it's going to happen for him. So, and he's got a pretty good life. So don't shed a tear for Leo. Okay? Things are pretty good for Leo.
And last 2 questions.
Last 2 questions.
Oh, I can ask.
You can ask 2 more. No. I have to go. I have a life.
I know. You have a wife now.
A life.
A life. Okay.
I have a life to get a wife.
And are you working on something right now? Maybe you're writing something or going to make a new movie as director?
Well, I'm working on a new movie, new film, and I'm also working with different TV companies in Russia, and I'm helping them with their stories. So doing both with film and television.
Okay, yeah. Good luck to you. And the last question, the most important, we know that you're incredible scriptwriter, you're amazing, really.
Well, I'm not that amazing. I don't know, we have got the wrong impression of me. I wouldn't say that.
So many works which are in history and always will be, like X-Files.
No, I want to be very clear that I was a writer and producer on the X-Files.
Yes.
I did not create the X-Files. So once in a while people...
Producer is also...
What I'm saying is that I want everyone to be very clear. As I worked on that show, I was not the executive producer. Chris Carter was, and he did an amazing job. So he gets all the credit for that. But again, when you're on a show, they need to hire writers and producers to help. So that was one of my jobs. Yeah.
And because in Russia we love this movies a lot, and our readers asked me to ask you if you remember any funny stories during making these movies, maybe which only you know.
I have some funny stories, but they would be embarrassing to certain actors, so I can't say. Because I want to work with them again. You have to be very careful what you say.
You cannot tell us names.
I can tell you one thing is that years ago I auditioned Johnny Depp when he first came to California, and he was there to read for a movie that I wrote. And he came and he was very new, and so he wanted the part so badly. He was like a puppy, he wanted the part. And he was good, but it was like he wanted it so badly it kind of hurt. So he ended up not getting the part. We gave it to an actor named Josh Brolin. So I'm embarrassed to say that I did not cast Johnny Depp. And
such a loss.
Such a loss, yeah, but who knows, he may have ruined his career, so everything works out exactly the way it's meant to. And then there was another time where Brad Pitt came in when he was brand new, and he studied with my acting teacher. And he was good, but he was a little bit cocky. And so I was like, what is he doing? No, we have the same teacher, why is he acting that way? But then he did Thelma and Louise 6 months later and became a major star. So my belief is that everything works out the way it's meant to. And it's just kind of funny that I didn't cast Brad Pitt, I didn't cast Johnny.
But Jelena Jolie going to say if
she was going to say, I'm glad you didn't cast him in television because he started a major motion picture and became a huge star, so everything worked out the way it was meant to.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Sure.
You're very interesting to talk to.
Thank you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Спасибо.